This is going to be the ultimate beginner's guide to industrial foregoing. This is going to be a very, very modern guide, meaning this is made for Minecraft. I don't even know what I'm in. Minecraft 1.21. I'm filming this in, so it is very up to date. There's going to be no waffle, etc. in this video, and hopefully I'm going to get you everything you need as a beginner. I will also be making an ultimate guide as well for the entirety of the mod. I will put that in the description. So basically, with industrial foregoing, what you have here is a lot of machines that do a lot of different things. The main thing we need to do to actually make all of these machines is going to be plastic. And that's one of the first things we'll be showing you today. So, you may only be using industrial foregoing. If so, how do we make power with industrial foregoing? We want to make this here, a pitiful generator. Quite simply, in the pitiful generator, you could put in combustible items like coal and it will make energy, and it does have an internal storage. You could place this next to your machines, and I do mean by here, like right next to them. Otherwise, I would generally use something like mechanism for your power, etc. Especially early game, industrial foregoing is not very good for making power. So once you have got power, either from industrial foregoing or elsewhere, we need to start making plastic. If we look in some of the foregoing machines, let's say the animal feeder, you can see here it does need plastic. And plastic is made by smelting dry rubber, and that's basically what we're going to be looking at making today. So, the first thing you're going to need is a fluid extractor. I'm not going to be going through the recipes too much because I think everyone probably has JEI that is watching this, but a fluid extractor, you're going to need something called a pity machine frame, which we can make from industrial foregoing. Again, you can see here, it's pretty much just wood, iron, and redstone blocks. And we're going to be using different machine frames, different materials. But basically, you want to make the fluid extractor first, and a latex processing unit. So this is actually the automated setup I have here, and you can see it's sort of flashing through the pipes. I am using mechanism pipes here. This is all fully automated for plastic, well, nearly plastic and latex. So I've actually got 3 fluid extractors, and if I actually just get one here and I place it looking that way, you can see the front of it is where it's going to be extracting the fluid from. So if I just take off this fluid extractor, you can see here we have a stripped oak log. What we're actually doing is we have a block placer. So the interior of the industrial foregoing machines look like this. There's a lot going on here. You can see this green bar going down. Every time the green bar gets to the bottom, it will then place another block, if it can. And it's the same with the fluid extractor. This is basically, you know, every time this green bar gets all the way to the bottom, it's then going to do another, it's going to try and extract more fluid from whatever is in front of it. They do need to be powered. I am just powering them with mechanism here, putting power pipes in, but you could put a pitiful generator, say, here, next to each one, so that it powers it. So let's actually make this together, this automated one. So I'm going to place a fluid extractor here, a fluid extractor here, and a fluid extractor here. Let's then power that fluid extractor. Again, I'm just going to use a creative energy cube from mechanism. You can power them automatically from any side. So I'm going to power them like this. And now what's going to happen is, if I put an oak log in here, they are, when the green bar gets to the bottom, start extracting fluid. And you can see in here that there's latex going in every time the green bar gets to the bottom. So it's extracting the latex from the wood. To automate this, I'm going to make a block placer, which is also from industrial foregoing. As you can see, very simple to make here. And that's going to do the same thing. If we get a block placer, and I always put it on my 4th side, and that again is going to place blocks in front of it. So I can just put oak logs in here. It does need to be powered, remember. And when it gets to the bottom of that green bar, it's going to place that block in front of it. There you go. It's placed the oak log. Meaning the block placer will automatically place oak logs into it every time it goes all the way down. And then the fluid extractors will automatically extract the fluid. And then using basic mechanical pipes from mechanism to extract out of the fluid extractors. And then basically what I'm doing here is I'm having that extractor come out into a latex processing unit. So the latex comes out, and you do need to pump water into the latex unit as well. And then we get dry rubber. Sometimes you'll get tiny dry rubber. I'm using this in the ATM 10 pack, where it just puts it into dry rubber. Sometimes it's tiny dry rubber, which I think they've taken out of ATM 10. But you can just normally, if you do have a pack or whatever you're playing where it's tiny dry rubber it makes, you just put it in every single slot. It's like free here, and free here, tiny dry rubber to make one dry rubber. And you also need to put water in here. The industrial foregoing machines are clever enough to know where stuff is coming in, so I've just put the latex pipe coming in on the top and the water at the back. For the water, I'm using a water condenser or condensator. What that does is it will basically just pump up fluids from around it. So you just place water around it, and it will just automatically get the water inside it, which we can then extract with any sort of pipe. So again, what I'm using here is 3 fluid extractors and a block placer to extract the latex out of the oak logs. Pump that into a latex processing unit, which will automatically start making the latex into dry rubber. And you pump water in there. However you like, I'm just showing it with you with the water condensator because it's from industrial foregoing, so it kind of makes sense. What you then need to do is take that dry rubber, either again with a item pipe, etc., and you just want to put it into a furnace, and we can cook that up. I'm just going to use some coal. We're cooking up the dry rubber that we've made in the latex processing unit into plastic. And there you go. That is one of the first and most important things you will ever need in industrial foregoing. You can see you're pretty much making everything in the mod with plastic. And that is pretty much the process for that. Just going back into the machines, I just want to show you a few more things. If you hover over orange, it shows output, and it highlights where that output is. If I click on that, we can actually change the directions. Enabled, push, or pull. Or disabled. We can completely disable these sides, etc. for each one. Water tank, again, if you click water, you can see where do you want to allow water to come in from. If you just leave them all on, it will be clever enough to know where. And then the latex, where do you want it going in or out of? You can use that with the tick boxes to push, pull, and just enable or disable it. We can also use redstone here, saying run on pulse, ignore redstone, run with no redstone, or only run with redstone here. You've obviously got your power. This is a Patreon for the mod author. That's this button up here. Not me, but for the mod author himself. And these purple slots are actually for upgrades. Now, we can put upgrades like an efficiency one in here. That's going to make it quicker. You can see here, I can only put one of each type in here. And that's a tier 1 efficiency upgrade. To make a efficiency upgrade, we need to use a dissolution chamber. So let's go have a look at that. So over here, this is our dissolution chamber. What this machine does is really interesting. It can take up to 8 items and a fluid and make up to 3 items and a fluid. If that sounds complex, let's look at the recipe for the one we were talking about. Or let's say a speed tier. If in the dissolution chamber, how do we make that? Well, you put latex in the fluid and then you use 2 redstone, 2 glass panes, 2 gold gears, and 2 sugar, and it will make an add-on speed tier 1. So let's just get a bucket of latex. I think I can just bucket this in here. You can see on the top, can you see on the top of the screen it's filling up with latex? So you can't just even bucket it in. If I go in here, the middle is now full of latex, and we need to put in our ingredients. So 2 redstone, and you may be thinking, does it need to go into the slots I showed? No, it doesn't. It can go in anywhere, I believe. 2 glass panes, 2 sugar, and 2 golden gears. And as you can see, it's now making something of all of these ingredients, which will be our upgrade slot. There we go. There's the add-on speed tier 1. And you've just made that, and you could put that even into this machine to make this one faster, for example. Over here, we've got the fluid output, the fluid input, and the input. Whenever you highlight over the colors, it always tells you what they are. We can also lock the input. If we lock it, and I say I put a gold gear in there, let's say I put in the whole recipe, what this would do when you lock the input is it means even if I take the gold gear out, it stays in here. And that's a really good way that you can automate the recipe going in. So you could have a chest and it pulling all of those items out, maybe from your AE2 system or something, going into here, and you just lock in the recipe, so it'll only just keep making that same recipe. All of the industrial foregoing machines work the same in the terms of the outputs and the color coding, the redstone, and the upgrades on the right. So you're pretty much good to go with knowing how the machines work now. Okay, cool. We've looked at upgrades. We've looked at the dissolution chamber, which you'll be using a lot of, and we've looked at how to make plastic. Oh, my apologies. As a beginner, there are two other things I think would be really important for you to know when looking at industrial foregoing. One is going to be plant usage. The second is going to be animal husbandry. After that, I think we're getting into more intermediates. So with plants, what we have here is a plant sower, a plant fertilizer, a plant gatherer, and a sludge refiner. Let's start off with the plant sower. As you can see in here, there's lots of different color codes. We can actually put like different seed spaces in here, so we can have like a big farm kind of thing, and you put the inputs in here. What I can say is potatoes go in red and seeds go in green, for example, and the top left area that the plant sower does will plant potatoes, and the top right will do wheat. The plant fertilizer, you can put either bone meal or fertilizer in. The plant gatherer gathers plants, and the sludge refiner, well, we'll get into that in a minute. So how do we put it all together? Well, the plant sower you actually put beneath where you want to put. So you can see here, like I could put dirt on here, but for the tutorial I want to show you, I've got the plant sower, and I'm just saying put potatoes everywhere. What I'm then doing is I've put in a add-on range tier 2 upgrade. Another thing you can do on some machines is show working area. You haven't seen this before, and this will actually show you where the area it will work on is. So you can see here this green area has been put on. If I take the range upgrade out, it will only do that much. So range upgrades are really, really important, as you can see. We can also say hide position particles. Can you see when it's being used, it's like these particles going into the air? You can hide those with that. And like I said, you could put like a potato here, wheat here, for example. Plant fertilizer, in fact, let's turn the working area for this off. The plant fertilizer, if we show the working area, again, I've got the range upgrade, so it's fertilizing everything in this area. If I put bone meal in here, it will just start fertilizing all the crops in that working area, as you can see. You can also use fertilizer itself, which is this one here. This is made from a sewage composter, and that's actually from industrial foregoing. However, that needs you to do animals for that, and we're going to be talking about that in a minute. So you can put bone meal in the fertilizer, and it will make it obviously grow quicker. And can you see now it's putting seeds in this area, but the rest of it is potatoes, because I've said seeds in green, potatoes in red. And you can actually see on it that green is that corner. Can you see there? It says green up there, and we're putting wheat in. Red up there, it's potatoes. That's how you know. So if you actually look at the plant sower, you can see which sides it's going to plant which on. Yellow being here, for example. And that's how you can differentiate between these. It's not amazing. If you use really big range upgrades, you kind of have to work it out, but you know, it is what it is. And then the plant gatherer will harvest all of your plants. Pretty much the same thing. It will gather some sludge when doing it. Oh, and by the way, you can use this for trees. I could put saplings in here as well, and this will also harvest trees. So you can make a tree farm this way as well here. It will automatically gain some sludge, and you're going to want to pump out this sludge from the gatherer. I'm pumping it into a sludge refiner, which doesn't do much exciting. It takes in sludge, and it automatically makes these materials. You can't choose which it makes. Sand, soul sand, gravel, clay, and dirt. And it just makes the sludge into this. And that's it. So again, we've got the plant sower underneath the dirt, the fertiliser at the same level. You don't have to use a fertiliser, it just adds bone meal. They will grow on their own. I would actually recommend putting water in the centre one, of course. It doesn't hoe the ground for you. So I really would put water like in the central one. Or make sure there is water available, because it will not hoe the ground. If the ground is not hoed, like here, it will not plant them. You do need to hoe it yourself. I'm just checking there's no add-on for it. These are all the add-ons we have here. Speed, efficiency, processing. No, I don't have anything for hoeing or anything like that. Okay. And that is basically how you do tree farms and plant farms. Next up is going to be animals. We've got quite a few machines here that do different things. The animal feeder, the animal baby separator, the animal rancher, etc. Let's start off with the animal feeder. What the animal feeder does is you put in the feed for the animals in this blue slot and it feeds them. Wowee. So what I've done here is I've put a fence around some cows. I've got my animal feeder and I'm going to put some wheat in. That's what they eat, right? And it's basically going to feed it to them, and therefore it's going to breed them. Now, if you're thinking, well, why isn't it doing it then? Well, if we look at the show working area, it's only that front square. I, again, would really recommend you put in a range add-on. For this, at least a tier 2 I would put in. And now look, woohoo, it's bred all the animals. As you can see, it's feeding them that wheat, and therefore breeding them. What we can then do is put an animal baby separator. And in here, you can choose to move babies or adults. And what you'll see, if I put a range upgrade in so it can reach them, is it will actually, when the green bar goes down, it will move that baby through to the other side. And what you'll notice now is it hasn't done it. See, it's not done anything. And that is because you need to make sure you face it the way you want to pull from. So if I want to pull an animal from this one into this one, I'm going to place my baby separator from this side. And as you can see, it's pulled the baby through. You can say pull adults through or babies. It's up to you. What I do is I will pull, I have my feeder set up. They can walk over these machines, so do put a fence on top. You have your feeder to breed them, then pull the babies through. And then what I do is I'll have another machine here, which will be an animal, a mob crusher. And very interestingly, in this new version of Industrial Foregoing, it doesn't actually have something I was expecting to see. So in the mob crusher, in the older versions, what you could actually do in here is you would have a filter, like an add-on. It was called a filter, and it was called like a baby filter, where it wouldn't kill, the mob crusher would not kill babies. Meaning, what you could do is put your mob crusher here, or if they change it so it just automatically only kills baby, automatically only kills the adults. Interesting. Doesn't say anything in here. In older versions, what you had is a baby filter that you could put in the mob crusher. So it would only kill the adults. Meaning, if I bred the animals and then pulled over the babies, as soon as they turn to an adult, the mob crusher would kill them. So that you're not wasting, the younger ones. Which would be a perfect mob farm for cows, etc. and breedable animals. But it doesn't appear to be in this new version. So that's interesting. Okay. Either way, the mob crusher, what this does is it will kill animals in front of it, and it will get essence as well, experience, and it will get all of the loot here. You can say, will the mobs produce essence? Mobs won't produce essence, but will each kill will have a random chance to use looting. So basically, if you say consume essence for looting or produce essence, if you don't want any essence, it'll instead use the experience of the mob to actually get looting on the mob and produce more loot. So you can tick that on or off. And that is the mob crusher. We then have the mob slaughter factory. And this will not produce any loot, but it will kill the mobs, and instead of producing loot, it produces liquid meat and pink slime. So let's talk about what those can do. Well, pink slime you can put into a dissolution chamber with lots of items to make an advanced machine frame. That's one of the higher ones. You do need a mob slaughter factory for that. And we can also just put some pink slime in with a glass pane to make like an actual solid pink slime with some water as well left over there. So pink slime is quite useful for that. You will need it in really advanced machines. Liquid meat, you can put in a dissolution chamber and make some mechanical dirt. There's a metallurgic mycelial generator, a washing factory. And you can wash it into... You can use it to wash ores and stuff. It's very strange stuff, but it's definitely not beginner, so not for this video. What you could have is just have it pumped out into like a bin or something if you don't want it. But that is the mob slaughter factory. We also have the sewer, which is very interesting. And this is actually how you make your fertilizer that I showed you earlier. So see all these cows under here? There is a sewer. And you can just see every now and then some orange stuff will come out. So you basically place the sewer underneath animals. And what it will get is sewage. So sewage will just periodically come out from the animals into the sewer. You can then pump that sewage out into a sewage composter, and that will just literally make it into fertilizer. So what you could do is have a sewer, like under here, with loads of mobs in here that you're breeding, the sewer automatically taking the sewage into a sewage composter, and you can have that sewage composter going into your plant fertilizer for your crops. So then you've got your crops all automated with fertilizer rather than using bone meal and gathering them, etc. And also you've basically got yourself a sand, gravel and dirt and clay farm from the sludge from your farm as well. What you could also do if you wanted is get a mob crusher and put skeletons in front of it with a skeleton farm, however you're making those to get the bone meal a different way like that. But that's basically an automated way I've just shown you of using animals and farming together to make lots of different outputs. And that's pretty much everything I want to show you for the beginner video here. But a few more little concepts I just want to walk you through. There is things like conveyor belts that you can make as well. There is also, if you are looking for help with the mod, it's not the best, but it is definitely educational. The Industrial Foregoing manual, very easy to make there. That does help you on a lot of things. There's loads of machines in this mod that you can do. I'd really advise like having a look through them all. The dissolution chamber is, that gets really high end. You are going to need ether gas at the high end. It's definitely not beginner. That's using a wither farm, etc. I'm going to do separate videos for that. So do check out the playlist you see at the end of this screen. End of this video, sorry. There's things like infinity backpacks, mob imprisonment tools, which you can use for mob farms, all cool things like that. And there's loads of different generators I'd advise you check out as well. You can see here like a frosty mycelial generator, furnace mycelial generator, halitosis one, which uses dragon's breath, biofuel one, loads and loads of different things that we can make. I'd really advise you just look for all the different things available to you in Industrial Foregoing, because you should have the base knowledge now about how the machines work, etc., etc., and how they can work together, like with the animals and the plants here. So if you did find this video useful, please do subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And if you check out the playlist you see on your right, you can see I do lots of different modded Minecraft tutorials. And I also am going to be doing a whole series on Industrial Foregoing as well. And do check out the rest of the channel. I cover all of the latest releasing games as well on this channel.